My name's Sahara and I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis in 2007. I had actually only had symptoms for 2 weeks. They came on thick and fast. My disease progressed really rapidly. So I'd spent 2 weeks at home with the abdominal cramps, the diarrhoea, the blood, the mucus, the fever. And I'd basically just slept for a week. A lot of weight loss. I'd lost nearly a stone in 2 weeks. And then I went to A&E. So I was admitted for severe dehydration. I had a colonoscopy and they identified that I had got ulcerative colitis. I stayed in the hospital on IV hydrocortisone via drip in the hope that that would force me into remission. It didn't, so I had emergency surgery within that first week of being in hospital to have my colon removed and an ileostomy. So that was it was pretty traumatic for me. I was 19 years old. Up until that point, I'd never been unwell at all, really. My teenage years had basically revolved around socialising. I was out at the weekends, I was drinking, I was being with my friends. So it was definitely an unforeseen circumstance. I absolutely hated it. I didn't want to talk to anybody about it. I didn't really want anybody to know that it existed. So I didn't talk about having inflammatory bowel disease at all, really, for the first 7 years. And the stoma I absolutely hated. The bags didn't stick. I was constantly dealing with leaks to the point where I didn't really want to leave the house. So I ultimately opted to have that reversed. So I had a J-pouch built out of my small intestine to replace my rectum. So that was 2 years later, 2009, I think, that was actually connected up. Unfortunately, my inflammatory bowel disease then, rather than being in the form of ulcerative colitis, came back as pouchitis, and I struggled with that on and off for years and years. I had a second stoma in 2014 for 5 months, and by that point, the game changer for me was the fact that I'd found the IBD and stoma community online. So I don't think without them and having spoken to those other really inspirational people that were really grateful for their ostomies, I don't think I'd have dealt with it very well. But by that point, because I'd met them, I knew that there were other options, that there were other bags, that there was this underwear that you could buy and keep it stuck to you so not everybody could see. So that was a massive game changer. The second stoma was a pretty good one, and I genuinely enjoyed the fact that it had given me a quality of life back. In 2018, September, is when I had my third ileostomy, which is a permanent one, and my J-pouch removed. So, and I don't really know what to say about it. There's literally nothing negative. I'm so happy with it. It feels like this should have been the normal that I was living all along. I can't pretend that it's normal as much as a normal person, generic well person, would think that they were normal. But for me, in my terms of normal, I think it's the best that I can hope for. So I'm really grateful for my stoma. I love World IBD Day because I can feel the community spirit. Everybody is sharing their own stories. Other people are sharing the other people's stories. And it's a great time for people to get together, get connected. And it just validates how other people are feeling. I don't think I've got a secret to coping with IBD. It's definitely been a huge long journey for me. I think the turning point was probably when I accepted that I was never going to be the normal that I knew before. So then I could look at what I did have, what tools I had got to work with, and then focused on how I could get to where I wanted to be in smaller steps, or basically just enjoying life with what I had to work with. And generally most of the time I am really happy. The fatigue and the joint pain is an issue, but it's about learning to figure out where your own limits are, and the other people around you need to understand those too. Why do I support others with IBD? I run a project called IBD Superheroes. So that raises awareness, raises funds for research, and also has a support group. I use my own personal social media channels just to support people with IBD. I don't want anybody else to go through what I did in terms of the isolation, basically just not really knowing what was out there. So if I can help speed up that process to acceptance and help people overcome certain barriers that they're facing, then that's what I'd really, really like to do. Basically, I think I want to be the person that I needed when I was diagnosed and struggling. Thanks for listening.